Fay Business Systems Group, Devin Ambron, who's Sales and Marketing at Scanco, Caroline Walsh, who is the Director of Sales and Marketing for V Technologies, who created the StarShip solution. Each of our companies have been working to help customers automate their supply chain within Sage 100 for about the last 15 years. The combination of all four of our companies has worked with over 8,000 Sage 100 customers in that time frame. Some of you who are on the call today may be working with one or all of our solutions that you're going to see, and some of you may be seeing a solution or all of them for the first time. Whether you need to integrate SugarCRM with Sage 100 or comply with EDI requirements, automate picking and packing, automate inventory control, or integrate shipping, or do all of them combined, there's going to be something that you'll be able to take away from today's webinar. As market leaders in each of our business segments, Fay Business, SPS, Scanco, and StarShip already share hundreds of customers, but we've never really gone to market together, and this is one of the first steps that we're taking to show you how a fully integrated supply chain solution, what it looks like, and how it could benefit your business along with the integration of SugarCRM. So what we were going to do is set up a sample scenario, and what we thought is have a distribution company who has some issues and show you how our four companies have the ability to fix the issues that they're dealing with. Red Wolf is a distribution company, and they're using Sage 100 and SugarCRM. They need to integrate EDI to work with companies like Home Depot and Target, but they're not doing any integration right now. They're also not integrating any sort of inventory control or barcoding solution, but they know they need to do that in their warehouse. They also want to ship to automate the shipping process within Sage 100, and also they've had some clamoring for giving their salespeople and customer service reps the ability to create quotes and orders within SugarCRM and then have that integrate back into Sage 100. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk everybody through what a visual workflow looks like for what you're going to be seeing from David, Devin, and Caroline. And there's two different processes. The first one is when we're talking about integrating orders and invoices through SugarCRM. What's going to happen is orders, you have the ability to create orders within and quotes within SugarCRM, and once that's done, the order is going to flow through into the sales order entry screen within sales order, and from there, Scanco is going to be able to pick up the data and pick and pack the goods based on the barcoding that has been set up for this individual distributor, which is Red Wolf. Then the data is going to be passed over to StarShip, where Caroline's going to show you what the picking what the shipping solution looks like, rate shopping, and she's going to go through a bunch of stuff. Then the data is going to get into accounts receivable, where the invoicing gets created, and then David's going to pick it back up and show you what it looks like in SugarCRM. In addition to the order and invoicing and quote processing, the other integrations that Sugar and Sage 100 have is you can view real-time customer-specific pricing and inventory levels. You can view those sales orders, payments, shipments. You can also view customer contact information, as well as sales history, item sales history, invoice history, and open invoices, as well as generating orders and quotes. And then the second visual workflow I want to walk you through is what it looks like for EDI. You'll notice that from the middle to the right, from the sales order process, it's going to all be the same. So understand, no matter where the data comes from, the process is going to be the same when you're looking at a fully integrated supply chain solution. So to walk through the workflow, order is going to come into the SPS Commerce solution. SPS is going to then pass the data into sales order data entry within Sage 100. Scanco is then going to pick it up, pick and pack the goods, scanning the barcodes and identifying what's on those orders. And Devin's going to walk you through that piece. Then he's going to pass it over to Caroline, where she's going to actually ship the goods, and the truck's going to go out and send those goods out to the big box retailers. The invoices are going to be created and sent over to SPS, and then SPS takes those invoices and sends them out to the individual trading partner. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to David from Fay Business.
Great. Thanks, Dane. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen right now. What we're looking at is the home screen. It's a Sugar dashboard. It's a SugarCRM. And obviously I'm not going to spend too much time on the dashboard because we're here to enter an order, but just so you know, anybody's dashboard in Sugar can look like pretty much anything you want it to be. It's fully customizable. We're looking at some data that actually comes in from Sage 100. Which is great. We have a top customers chart here, and we can see Shepherd Motorworks is our top customer, and it's a cool little graphic. Over here we have a list of our high balance customers, and again, all this data is coming in from Sage 100, and so you have some great metrics that you can look at if you're a sales rep or a sales manager or anybody else using Sugar. So when you go to enter in a quote or sales order in Sugar, you can do it one of two ways. You can just enter it in from scratch, or you can take an existing order and duplicate it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a list of all the quotes currently in the system, and these are both quotes and sales orders. And you can see the order number here on the left. You get to give it a title, who the customer is, the stage of the order, an amount, and some other information related to it. And so what I thought for streamlining purposes, instead of entering in an order from scratch, we're just going to take an existing order and duplicate it for one of our customers. So we're going to take the standard cabinet order for ABF here. And I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring up that sales order. And this is a sales order that's in the system. And what I can do is I can click on a little down arrow here and say copy. Okay, and now I have a template for an order that I'm going to use for my next, for today. So instead of titling it standard cabinet order, I'm actually going to call this my September cabinet order, just to give it a little something different. In addition, I have a purchase order number. We'll leave it as verbal. Payment terms, we're going to change it to be net 30. I think that would be better for these guys. It's valid until September 30th. You know what? Let's make this valid actually until just today, because I think we're actually going to process the order today. The quote stage is very important. You can make it a draft order quote, which means it's just in the system as a quote and nothing else. You can have it in all these other stages: negotiation, delivered, on hold, confirmed, closed, accepted. These are definable by you. These just happen to be the ones in the system right now. Closed accepted means it's become an actual sales order. And that's what our integration uses to say, hey, I'm going to send this into Sage 100. We have a billing account name. We can put a contact in here. We have our billing address. We can change the ship to address over here if we want to. We're going to leave that as it is. And then we've got our line items. And we've got 2 of a 4-drawer letter file cabinet. We have 4 of a 2-drawer letter file cabinet. I'm going to change these to be non-taxable because I actually don't want to charge tax on this, but it defaults to taxable because that's how it is for our particular customer. It actually says which warehouse they're coming out of, and again, this is data that's coming in from Sage, but you can pick other warehouses to ship them out of. You can add comments. You can put comments down here, and these are just for internal use, so these are internal comments for our staff only, and that's kind of cool. And so those comments stick with this order all throughout the history of the order in Sugar. And that's pretty much it for an order. We know we've pretty much got everything we need on it. We have all the header information, who the customer is, where it's being shipped. We have the line items. And really all that happens at this point is, you click Save on the order. And what it's done is it's assigned an order number, 3600-137. Now, the way the integration works is it's set to run on a schedule. So for most of our users of the integration in a busy environment, they may have the integration running every 10 minutes. We have other people running it every hour. It could be any time frame you want. But for purposes of this, to send it over into Sage 100, I'm just going to pull up our integration application. Like I said, this usually runs on a scheduler. You wouldn't have to do this. But at this point, really, I'm going to click on Sugar Quotes to Sage. Now you see on this list are all the other integration points that we have between Sugar and Sage. But this is the one that's relevant right now. And I'm just going to click Go. And it's going to do its thing and send the order into Sage. And at this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Devin, who's going to take the order in Sage and start doing some things with it. And then we'll come back into Sugar towards the end after the order's been invoiced. Devin, it's all you.
Great, thank you so much. So what I'm going to do as part of this process to show another feature of the handheld unit is to also go through the receiving process, and we'll of course go through and ship this order. But I want to show you what it would be like for the handheld user in Red Wolf Distributing, the sample company that we noted, for what it would be like for that user to actually go through and process the transaction, receive the inventory in that they will be taking from this order that's been sold through SugarCRM and then placed into Sage 100. So here I have the actual platform here. I'm going to run through, enter my batch number, and you'll see that as I enter information here into the screen, it's going to prompt me for all of these items. I do have everything barcoded here on my desktop, so I'm going to scan the purchase order. Now it's going to prompt me for the items to be added in, and if I go to a lookup, it's going to tell me which items are on that order and which have been ordered unreceived and which have been received. So I'll go ahead and scan in the UPC of these items. We'll see a picture of the item description, and it's going to prompt me for a quantity. We'll go ahead and enter 50 here. Now, as it goes through, it's live validating this information inside of Sage 100, making sure that the item numbers that I'm scanning are appropriate, and if I am over-receiving and it's not enabled to have that with the particular module that I'm in, that it's going to prompt me and tell me that that's not allowed. So the best thing about, and here you can see there's no other orders left. The best thing about the new Scanco warehouse is that we are connected live to the Sage 100 server, and all of the information is live validated, so that way the users in Red Wolf Distributing are no longer going to have to worry about picking items or receiving items that are not in inventory and having all kinds of issues that arise from not having the information updated, especially when you have a multi-user warehouse, which in the real world is difficult to think of it any other way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ship the order. We've now received the inventory in of those two items. I'm going to ship this order that's been sent into Sage 100, and I'm going to be mindful of the fact that these items may not fit into one box, and we may have separate items in different boxes, and which is going to reflect on the StarShip side as well. So I'll go through here. I can perform a lookup where you'll be able to see what sales orders are available in the system, be able to sort them by customer, sales order number, or ship date. You can see the sales order that we want to use here, 3600137, is at the top, and hit cancel. I'm going to go ahead and scan because we're going to emulate that there is a no paper pick ticket. So the user at Red Wolf Distributing would just have the handheld device and be able to know which items need to be placed into this order to complete it. So we're going to select box number 1. And so now it's going to prompt me to start scanning items. If I do a lookup at this time, it's going to allow me to see what items need to be placed into this order. So I'm going to scan the first item. It's going to, again, with this nice waterfall effect, give me information that I need when I need it for these orders. And it's going to tell me where it's located, what it looks like, bin location, and what the quantity shipped and order is. So for this first box, I'm going to place 2 of these into inventory. Now I'm going to scan the second item and still place this in the first box. I'm going to do a quantity of 2. So now say when the warehouse user is finished packing this box, they're going to click the next box button, and it's going to advance there near sales order number and box number to box 2, where I'll then scan my final item that needs to be placed in the system to complete this order, where I'll then enter a quantity of 2. This information is sent back to Sage 100, and after I hit send here, it's going to apply that information. And now Caroline at V Technologies is going to get this information to be able to process it in StarShip to be able to see those levels and add the tracking information. Caroline?
Thanks, Devin. So now that Devin has done the pick and the pack on this order that came originally from Sugar, we're going to go ahead and ship it. And you should see my StarShip screen here. The user can actually scan this number in if they wanted to. They could look it up similar to what Devin did within the Scanco solution. And then StarShip's going to pull in all of the header level information as well as the package and item level information that was defined on the Scanco handhelds. So on the StarShip ship screen, we're going to bring it in. You'll notice down in the packaging view, I have my 2 boxes, and if I expand these, you'll see here are the details of these boxes. What was scanned in using Scanco is now being brought into StarShip to eliminate the needs for all the manual entry that's happening and help make that process more efficient. Also, weights from inventory are being brought in. However, StarShip can read the weight directly from an electronic scale if you don't have your weights in inventory. From here, I can do a rate shop if I wanted to, since I have all the information about this particular shipment, and StarShip will go out to all of the carriers and rate shop this particular shipment with 1 click. I can also have StarShip go out and do a rate shop in the background and automatically select the best carrier and service based on my conditions. So if you want StarShip to take a look at the needs by date and determine what the least expensive way to ship it, you can do that. From there, you could automatically have that, or you could modify the ship via from there. Or you could just leave the ship via that was translated originally from the SugarCRM order, which is what I'm going to do here with the UPS second day air. So now we're really just ready to ship it. I'm going to go ahead and process the shipment. StarShip's going to generate the barcoded shipping labels and also update Sage 100 with the information. So this happens to be what we call our smart labels, our packing list plus shipping label. The nice thing when you're using the Scanco handhelds is that now you have this information that can then be printed on the pack list from StarShip. It will also be available for within the email notification that you can do from StarShip. Here's my second package that Devin entered with the quantity of 4, but he shipped 2 on here. So here you can see that this particular box will have this packing list associated to it, and here's that shipping label. That's really the ease of processing shipments that were generated in Sugar and picked and packed in Scanco. What I wanted to show you, one more thing that you can do with StarShip is to automatically send the email that was for the shipment notification that's going out to your customer. And the nice thing, again, with grabbing the package and item level detail is that we can then make that available in the emails that are being sent out. You have total control over, what the email looks like, who it's going to. You can send emails to your salespeople. You can create different templates and add logic on when the template's being used, your logo. And obviously, one of the most important things here is that you have the ability to include your Sage 100 information. So things like the order number, the shipment information, the delivery date, as well as all that line item information that was defined using Scanco is all inside of this email, so your customer gets a really detailed view of the boxes, the tracking information, the items that were associated. Okay, so now that it's shipped, StarShip sent that information back into Sage, and we're going to send it back to David to take a look at the SugarCRM and how you can view that information through Sugar.
Great. Thanks, Caroline. So we're now back in Sugar, and I'm a sales rep in Sugar, and I'm interested in what's going on with my customer, American Business Futures. And so we're currently on an account screen in Sugar, and this is the basic information about American Business Futures. And you can see over here on the right, Sugar calls this their intelligence pane, and you can put pretty much any data you want that's specific to American Business Futures here. And there's actually a little pie chart that shows sales by item, by product. So at a glance, our salespeople, our customer service people can get a feel for, wow, you know, we sell a lot of this one, a lot of this, not so much of this. As we take a look at the account screen in Sugar, there's all kinds of other information on here. Some of it is Sugar information, and some of it is information that came from Sage. So for example, you know, this is having address, phone number, email address information, your basic customer data. Over here, there's a tab called Financial Data. This is data that comes from Sage, and you can see there's an aging, and wow, they owe us a lot of money. It's very old. So they're way over their credit limit. They should be on credit hold, but they're not because we're good guys. We've got to get on that, though. And on the Send to Sage tab, it's got some other information. It's got a company code in Sage, so actually our integration will support multiple companies in Sage. It has the Sage customer number. If there's a division in Sage, the Sage sales rep, their terms, all that kind of stuff. And now we're back on the main screen. Now beneath the main account information is what Sugar calls subpanels. And the subpanels have all kinds of other information. So I'm going to scroll down for you. And you can see, okay, there's a list of all the contacts that go with this customer. And these can be maintained in Sugar. They can be syncing with the contacts functionality in Sage. You can do it any way you want. Then beneath that, there's all kinds of other information. So there's some sales history information by year and by period. There's some invoice history, and you'll see this is the invoice that was just invoiced in this demonstration. We'll come back to this in a second, this 1042 invoice. But just some other information that comes over from Sage related to American Business Futures. We have a list of all the open invoices here. So this is great information, especially if you're a sales rep about to go into a meeting with a customer. You could pull this up on your laptop, on your iPad, on your smartphone, wherever you happen to be looking at Sugar. You can get all this data. And, you know, a lot of this information, obviously all the information is available in Sage, but sometimes it's difficult to get access to this stuff in the cloud through some of the standard Sage tools. And so what this integration does is if you're using Sugar, which is a cloud-based solution, you have access to all this data. So there's the open invoices. Then in addition to that, we have sales history by product. So this is the detail that supports this graph over here. We can see this 1001 Han H252. We've sold 159 of them this year for $12,000. Gives us last year's quantity and last year's dollars as well. Again, great information if you're a sales rep about to go into a meeting with someone. Sales history by product line. So if you've got product lines for your items, this is showing us we've done 23,000 in sales with this product line. As many of you may know, in Sage 100, there's categories that can be used with each inventory item, and so these happen to be colors: black, brown, none, and gray. Again, we have sales information related to that. Beneath that, we have complete cash receipts history. So it shows you, you know, when something was received, the check number would have paid, what the amount was, et cetera. And then a list of all the quotes and sales orders related to this particular customer with the status of it. There's other things, obviously, that are specific to SugarCRM. You can attach documents to the account record. You could track opportunities. You could track calls, meetings, notes. All the standard CRM functionality is available in Sugar. But back to the invoice that we generated, that actually Caroline just generated. So if we were to go back to this invoice, and it was invoice number 1042, as I recall. So if you just click on it, it's basically a drill down. It's basically a drill down into that invoice. And so here we are. It's got the main invoice information. So invoice number, invoice date, due date, amounts, and things like that. Then beneath that, we have the line items, shows you quantity shipped and dollars amount. And then we have the tracking information. We have our two boxes here. And one of my favorite parts is if you're in customer service and someone's calling about the status of an order or an invoice, you can pull up the screen and you can click on the tracking number, and it takes you straight to the UPS website, and it tells us, okay, scheduled delivery information is not available at this time. Please check back later. Last location. It's your basic UPS screen. And so this is obviously a real great solution for customer service people, especially if they don't have access to Sage, where the tracking number may also be. And even if they do have, device might be a more to get that data, especially because they can easily record the phone call from the screen, with the customer rep, which it's good to have that phone call history saying, hey, the customer called in to check on the invoice and the status of the order. So that's a standard CRM solution. And so that sort of takes you through the entire process. It shows you the invoice coming back, and the invoice coming back into Sugar is on a scheduler as well. And we have clients that run this invoice history import once an hour, once a day. It just depends on the nature of your business and how real-time you want your data to be. So with that, this sort of completes the loop. And I'm going to kick it back to Dane for our wrap-up. And there's probably some questions, and we can address those.
Thanks, David. So yes, we're going to wrap up, but before we do that, I wanted to kind of just take everybody through, again, what Red Wolf Distributing's issues were and how they were solved by the different solutions. So the first thing they needed to do was integrate EDI because they work with companies like Home Depot and Target. Using the SPS solution, we have the ability to integrate that data, and we'll go through the workflow again, but just to remind everybody how it works. But they needed to do that integration, and that would be solved by using the SPS integration with Sage 100. They also needed to implement an inventory control and barcoding solution. Devin walked you through that solution using the Scanco pick and pack solution, as well as the receiving solution when you received in those different items. They also needed to automate shipping within Sage 100. Caroline walked you through that as she shipped the item out, or the items and boxes order out with using StarShip, generating the UPS label. She showed you the emailing capabilities. And then they also needed to give their salespeople and customer service reps the ability to create quotes and orders in SugarCRM and have that be integrated within Sage 100. That's what David took you through on the bookend at the beginning of the process as well as the end. So again, just to walk through the workflow, SugarCRM is going to send the data over into sales order data entry. Scanco is going to pick up that order and pick, pack, and ship it using the barcoding. Then Scanco is going to pass that order information over to StarShip, where Caroline's going to ship it out, or StarShip's going. Caroline wouldn't do all that work for you guys, but StarShip will. Then the invoices are going to get created and send that back over to SugarCRM. And then the second workflow was the EDI piece. Orders are coming in from those big box retailers, Home Depot, Target, Amazon, Walmart, coming into the SPS Commerce network. And what we're going to do is we take that data, and we work with over 50,000 different suppliers. We exchange about 4 million documents a month, a little bit more than that, between retailers and suppliers, third-party warehouses, a whole bunch of different types of companies like that, QA firms. We're going to automatically take that data, send it over into sales order data entry, which eliminates the manual data entry. We're validating the data, make sure that it meets the requirements of the Sage 100 solution. Scanco is going to pick it up, and they're going to scan those items or barcodes that are on those orders. And what the Scanco solution does, as listening to Devin, it'll eliminate those mispicks, reduce the time it actually takes to do your pick and pack, as well as receive in those inventory items that you're going to be bringing into your warehouse. After that has been done in the EDI process, then the information has the ability to go out, and there's an EDI document called the Advanced Ship Notice. And what that information has is it tells the retailer, in this case the big box retailer, Home Depot, Target, what's actually going to be coming to them before they get it. Caroline picks up that information once it's ready to be shipped, and that's where she brought you through picking the appropriate carrier, rate shopping, and getting that detailed information about the shipment, including that email notification and when it's been finally completed. Invoicing gets done within the accounts receivable module, and then the data goes out to SPS Commerce, where we take that and we're going to validate it again. Once it's been validated once in Sage 100, but we're also going to validate it again against the retailer's requirements, making sure that the data meets the requirements of those retailers, and then we send out those invoices as well as the advanced ship notices, if necessary, to those big box retailers. So with that, that's kind of the summary of what you saw today, and we do appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And Adrian, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you so much, Dane, and everybody. A great presentation. It's nice to see how a fully integrated Sage 100 ERP supply chain solution with customer service and sales works together. We do have a couple questions. I would like to start off with a poll for each of the solutions that we did show. So I'm going to launch the first one here. Are you interested in learning more about SugarCRM for sales and customer support, the integration that you just viewed? And this would be the salesperson taking the order, indicating the order in Sugar, having it integrated into Sage 100, and having all the Sage 100 support people be able to fulfill that order and send that information back into Sugar. And we do have a question here. So David, this question is for you. What is the process to get your SugarCRM integrated with Sage 100 ERP?
What's the process? Well, there's an integration application that we have, and you install it on the server where Sage 100 lives. And there's a little questionnaire that we have that helps us configure it for your specific organization, and then we get rolling. It depends if you already have Sugar up and running or not. But if you don't have Sugar up and running and it's a new Sugar install, then it's really clean because you run the integration for the first time and it populates all the customers in Sugar for you, and so you're really ready to go. But really, it's pretty straightforward. You install the application on the server, you configure the different syncs that you want to run and the schedule that you want to run them on. There's a couple strategic decisions you have to make, how you're going to link customers in Sugar to customers in Sage, but then you're off and running.
And then we have another question related to Sugar. How would our customer service team be alerted if a salesperson has entered a new sales order?
There's a few different ways that can happen, but Sugar has what's called workflows built into it, and workflows are something where you configure Sugar so that if X happens, then do something else. So you can configure a workflow that says if a sales order is entered, send an email alerting whoever needs to be alerted that that order was entered, and the email could even have a link to the sales order in it. So an order gets entered, immediately an email gets sent to your customer service team with a link to the order saying, hey, this order was entered.
And
that's one way. There's some other ways too, but that's the simplest way.
Okay, thank you, Haley, for that question. We have another question from Matt. Will we be able to have a person come to our location to aid in the integration process?
We've done that before, sure.
And the SugarCRM integration, does it work with only on-premise deployment? Thank you, Koji.
It works wherever Sugar is deployed. So as many of you may know, one of the really cool things about Sugar, one of the things that we like about it the most is that you have complete hosting flexibility. So it could be hosted in Sugar's on-demand environment, it could be hosted at Amazon or Rackspace, or it could be hosted on an internal server in your office, and the price is still the same. So that's one of the things we like, and our integration will work in any of those environments.
And if the audience noticed, I did change the poll. Are you interested in learning more about connecting to a big box retailer using EDI? If you could just take a moment to answer that poll, that would be great. We have another couple questions about sugar, it looks like. We are a sporting goods retailer with a staff of outside salespeople selling to schools throughout our state and into other states. Right now we have Sage 100, AR, AP, GL. To make this work, would we need to add the sales order module?
Well, if you want to enter orders in Sugar and have the orders flow into Sage, you would. However, the other, and if you want inventory information to appear in Sugar, obviously you would need the inventory module in Sage. However, if you just want to get invoice history visibility or open invoice visibility in Sugar, you don't need those modules. So it really depends on what sort of integration you want and what you're looking to do. So again, if you want to enter orders in Sugar, and you want them to flow into Sage, obviously you would need the sales order module, but it's not necessary to have it for some of the other parts of the integration to work.
And I did, audience, if you may notice, that I did change the poll. Are you interested in learning more about pick-pack automation for your warehouse? You just take a moment to answer that poll. We do have quite a few questions coming in. Can SugarCRM be configured so that the customer have limited access to SugarCRM to enter the order?
Well, you can, there's a lot of shopping carts out there that integrate with Sugar. So that's one way people do it, is people enter sales orders in shopping carts, and that's integrated with Sugar. And then other people have, web portals that can be integrated with Sugar. So Sugar does have the functionality for a web portal, and obviously we'd have to know more information about what you're looking to accomplish, but there's ways to do that.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll and launch another here. We have one more poll, so bear with me if everyone can answer this poll. Are you interested in learning more about shipping automation? And then, David, how much is the integration software to get Mass and SugarCRM to talk? Mass being Sage 100 ERP, formerly Mass 90. Thank you, Alex.
There's a couple different versions of the integration, but the basic version costs $2,000 a year. And that includes the software, upgrades, updates, and unlimited support.
And then would Scanco take the place of our current multi-bin solution, or would it replace it? Thank you, Haley. So Devin, that one's for you.
Yeah, I would. It sounds like maybe what the misunderstanding would be is you can use multi-bin with the Scanco system. They work together. It wouldn't necessarily be a replacement for it. So we do work with the multi-bin, if I'm understanding your question properly. But I'm willing to dig into that more with you one-on-one outside, so shoot us an email.
Haley, I got your note, and Devin has both these notes, so I'm sure Devin or a member of his team will get back in touch with you one-on-one. But she does say, let me start over. Would Scanco work with our current multi-bin solution or replace it? So I think Devin, you can just take that one offline and talk to Haley and get the clarification.
Sounds good.
We're considering an e-commerce solution integrated with Sage 100. Would SugarCRM interact with e-commerce, David?
There's different ways to do it. It depends. We've seen people do it both ways. So it'd be nice to be able to graph this on a board, but really one way to do it is the orders from e-commerce go into Sage directly, and then Sage integrates with Sugar, and Sage sends the data that Sugar needs. Another way is that the e-commerce site sends the orders into Sugar, and then Sugar sends them into Sage. So there's pros and cons to doing it either way, and it really just depends on your specific set of requirements. But both ways work great, and it really just comes down to what the specifics are for you. So that would be something we probably want to talk about offline if you want to get into more details on that.
And Steve, we do have your question associated with your name on the webinar registration, so either David or a member of David's team will get back in touch with you and further clarify that for you. We have another question here. We use Sage 100, SPS, StarShip, plus integrated EDI. Would we need to add Scanco to use SugarCRM? Thank you, Michelle.
No, I think the cool thing about what you saw today with all the solutions is all the solutions can work together or they can work independently of each other. So you don't have to have Scanco to use Sugar, and you don't have to have Sugar to use Scanco.
And so if they had another barcoding solution instead of Scanco, we could make all that flow probably pretty similar to what you showed today.
Yeah, because Sugar's just taking the invoice history back from Sage. Sugar doesn't care where the invoice history came from, whether it's generated from Scanco or something else. We're just taking the invoice history back, so it works either way.
So can smaller companies send POs to SPS Commerce so we can process them via EDI?
Yeah, we have a way to send POs outbound of Sage 100 to vendors in that case. We do have the ability to do that, and we can talk about that.
And then we have a question here. Can we define where StarShip puts the tracking information in the invoice data entry screen? We would need to be able to integrate it with Mapadoc.
Hey, this is Caroline. There's actually, Mapadoc has an integration to StarShip where they take the information about the shipment and update their fields accordingly. So that might be an option for you. With StarShip, you do have the ability to also further define other UDF fields that you can send the tracking number back to. So that's an option too, but you should definitely look into the Mapadoc to StarShip integration, the direct integration. That might be the best way to go.
And Dane, can you clarify Mapadoc for us quickly, how it works together with SPS?
Yeah. When I talked earlier about the integration between SPS Commerce and Sage 100, we utilized a tool called Mapadoc that is fully integrated into Sage 100, which allows for the integration of the sales order data, invoicing outbound, ASN outbound. We do work, as I had said earlier, with outbound purchase orders and inbound invoices as well. And that tool is built using the tool sets provided to a developer of Sage, so it does sit inside. It looks and feels just like Sage 100 and allows the user the ability to not have to leave Sage in order to push and pull the data back and forth, and uses all the validation that's necessary for the data coming in over EDI and matching it to what exists within Sage 100, like on a sales order, inventory items, UPC codes, shipping codes, and so on and so forth.
And then this one's for Caroline. How does StarShip integrate with FreightQuote.com or any 3PL?
Hey, this is Caroline. Good question. We actually have a module for FreightQuote where we send shipment detail using a web service, and it goes directly to their site, and they return back the available carriers and rates for your particular account number. From an LTL perspective, we also have over a dozen direct LTL connections with various carriers, the top 10 national ones, including ones like UPS Freight, FedEx Freight, Conway, ABF. So if you're interested in learning more about those, just let me know, and we can review those with you as well.
And we have one last question. If you have more questions, and Carla, I do see that your hand is raised, so I'm going to go ahead and you unraised your hand, so perfect, Carla. I will not unmute your line. We have one question here. We have many custom-made parts, so we have new part numbers all the time. Does SugarCRM allow an order to be entered without the part number already in Sage?
Yes, it would allow the entry of the part number, but obviously it would present some challenges when the order came into Sage because Sage would want to validate the order. So yes, you could enter in an item on a sales order in Sugar that did not already exist. That's just a setting in Sugar about whether you want to validate the field or not. But then when it integrated with Sage, we'd have to talk through the significance of that. So it sounds like we could do something around that, but obviously we'd have to talk through the details.
And I am not seeing any more questions. Thank you, everybody, for all of your questions. That was a great presentation, everybody. We did record this webinar, so we'll be posting the webinar along with all our other webinars that we've recorded at ERPVAR on YouTube/ERPVAR. And we will send a copy of that recording with a link, a YouTube link, and an email, a follow-up email, probably today. We'll include all of the presenters' contact information so you can reach out to them, and their team will be following up with everybody on the call today and everyone who registered. And we just thank you so much for your time. I know time is it's hard to come by, and thank you for spending 47 minutes so far with us. I'd just like to leave it with the presenters to add any closing remarks.
All's good here from Scanco. Just want to thank everybody for joining us today.
Yeah, I echo that. David Fay from Fay Business Systems and SugarCRM. Happy to be a part of it, and Adrian will send out all the contact info if anybody has any further questions.
All right, everybody, have a fantastic day. We'll be talking to you soon.